Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking a gritty, absolutely stunning 6 days solo cycling travelogue and, well, transforming it into an epic story of endurance. So what actually happens when you embark on a 6 days solo cycling trip into the mountains of Mexico, armed with nothing but fresh tires and zero cell service? Let's dive right into this call to adventure. We're looking at a journey that perfectly balances the brutal physical tolls of mountain biking with the profound, unexpected human kindness you find when you're way off the beaten path.
And this journey is absolutely a masterclass in resilience. As the quote here hints, there are those moments where sheer willpower just has to take a back seat, and common sense tells you, hey, stop off the pedals. But, before we even hit these steep, unforgiving mountain grades, the real trials actually began before she even left the house. Part 1. Prepping for the journey. We've got to talk about those bike maintenance woes.
Because the incredibly frustrating reality of a multi-day trip is just getting the bike ready to go. Laura, our cyclist, spent an agonizing day and a half just trying to mount new tubeless tires. I mean, picture this. She's fighting sticky sealant spilling all over her garage floor, struggling with CO2 cartridge just to pop the tire onto the rim, and then she has to battle a broken, bulging O-ring on a brand new valve stem that just kept leaking air. Just think about how incredibly frustrating that is right before a massive trip. But despite that whole chaotic garage trial, she stuck with it. She persevered. She even tackled her wonky derailleur herself, inventing this clever little mnemonic to remember how to adjust the barrel. Wise away, counter closer. Meaning, turning it clockwise moves it away from the tire and counterclockwise moves it closer. Pretty brilliant, right? So, finally equipped and mentally tested, she hits the road.
Section 2. First days, friendly faces, and the kindness of strangers.
Setting out on day 1, Laura covered 69 kilometers all the way to San Pablo Tolimna. Surrounded by these stunning, incredibly quiet mountain roads, the trip immediately juxtaposed immense physical exertion with this surprising sense of peace and warmth. You're climbing hundreds of meters in elevation, your legs are absolutely screaming, but then you look out at these undisturbed vistas, and it all just makes perfectly good sense.
What really stands out here, though, is the effortless kindness of strangers. Laura rented a room and actually ended up sharing a space with a local family of 5. And instead of a lonely night, her host took her out for amazing pork gorditas and a tequila jarrita. They literally treated her like a returning friend rather than just a paying guest. And then, waking up the next morning, her host's mother was already up, making her morning tea and bringing out her freshly washed and dried cycling clothes. I mean, starting a brutal riding day with fresh gear and a warm cup of tea, that provided the absolute perfect emotional fuel for what was coming next.
Part 3. The Federal Tunnel Obstacle, the Block Path.
Of course, every epic quest has to have a major plot twist, right? And Laura's arrived on day 2. Let's trace this timeline, because the day was already escalating. She survived this grueling 12-kilometer climb completely running out of water before luckily stumbling upon a roadside fruit stand. But then she reaches this massive federal tunnel near her cabin. The problem? Bicycles are strictly prohibited. So after screaming down a mountain just to get there, a guard simply says, "No, you can't pass." She is totally stuck.
But instead of a dark, defeatist moment, this roadblock led to another heartwarming rescue. A pickup truck rolls by, and the guard actually helps her flag it down. Turns out it's full of local delivery men. They literally clear out their crowded truck bed, load up her bike, and give her a lift. And the absolute best part? They outright refused any money for the ride. They just genuinely wanted to help a traveler in need.
Section 4. Gravel, Grinds, and Horseflies. Welcome to the backroads. So day 3 arrives. Following a triumphant 9 a.m. hamburger in Zimapan, because why not, the route dives into some brutal physical contrasts. You literally go from these breathtaking, pristine views of the dam to backroads that are so deteriorated, potholed, and washed out that even the Google mapping truck completely avoided them. She was truly off the grid here.
14%. That is the punishing grade of the washed-out gravel hills she faced on these backroads. Now, to put that into perspective, climbing a 14% grade is hard enough on smooth pavement, but on loose, chunky rock, it is absolutely agonizing.
This section really became her dark night of the soul. She was forced to dismount and push her heavy bike up these rocky slopes. And just when she stopped to catch her breath and, try to find her joy again, she was attacked by literal swarms of biting horseflies. I mean, of course, right? You've got complete isolation, total exhaustion, and now bugs.
but somehow she just kept pushing forward.
Part 5. The final stretch heading home.
After enduring the mountains, the bugs, and the rain, day 6 finally arrives. She had to conquer a massive 90-kilometer stretch. That's a huge day in the saddle, but at this point she was driven by sheer momentum and this incredibly powerful desire to just finally make it home to rest.
And the grand finale of this whole journey is just brilliant. First, she conquered the dreaded El Salto climb, which she'd been stressing about all night, only to find it was actually way easier than she anticipated. Then, she suffered the desperate disappointment of a closed burger joint while doing the classic pee dance, only to be miraculously rescued by a greasy highway truck stop burger. And the absolute peak of the day? Her husband Neil riding his motorcycle out to find her on the dirt trails. That provided a massive emotional boost as he escorted her for the last 30 kilometers home. As we wrap up this explainer, Laura's journey leaves us with one really powerful question. When you look at the resilience, the unexpected kindness of strangers, and the sheer joy of reaching that finish line, it makes you think. So I'll ask you, what is the one adventure you've been putting off because the preparations seemed too hard or the path looked a bit too steep? Maybe, just maybe, it's time to pack your bags, prep those tires, and find out exactly what's waiting on the other side of your own mountain.